conditional rendering. So we got here a component, right? So we can, for example, do some stuff like hello world. Let's see that everything goes fine, right? Right? But I'm going to make this. I would like, instead of hello world, I want to display a couple of messages. So let's do something. Let's create some state. So constructor, you know that already, right? And here you got this dot state equals so welcome equals true, right? So if we do that, right? So what I would like to do, I would like to say, hey, if this dot state dot show welcome, right? In that particular case, I'm going to return the welcome to code area, right? Else I'm going to do return I'm going to do Monday blues. So, right, if we do that, you see this is conditional rendering. At the end of the day, just if else, right? Pure JavaScript if else. You already know how JavaScript if else works. So what will happen if I add an exclamation mark at the beginning of the if statement? What will it display? Exactly, right? We are negating the condition, so we jump to the else. Remember, this is JavaScript. There's nothing about React here. If else, if do something, else do something else. It's pretty simple, right? Also, we last week we discussed that we can improve that a bit using the ternary operator. Do you remember the ternary operator? Right. Can you tell me how to do that? Saving some lines. This state show welcome, and then what? Yep. Yep. Like that? Colon. Correct. But, right, so for that particular case, exactly, it fails. Why it fails? Exactly. Thank you, Aaron. That's it, right? So one of the good things about React is that when there is an error, the feedback is very valuable. So even if you do that and you are fully convinced it doesn't work, you are fully convinced it should work. In reality, it doesn't. But look, your render method, that's my render method, should have return statements. Like, oh, I forgot to add it, right? So this is as simple as, oops, as being able to type return, right? So if we do that, here you go. And obviously, if we change the condition or we initialize it to false.
Sorry, can we have render as an arrow function?
Can we have
Render as an arrow function?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so because this is a stateful component. Stateful components are components that have state, right? And if you want to have a state, you need to create a class. That's why we do that thingy, right? Class. And when you have a class, this is JavaScript. We didn't went really deep into classes yet. But just for now, this is the way you create a class with JavaScript. So you do class, name of the class. If this is a React component, then you extend that. And then you just create some methods. These methods are first class methods, or how to say that? Class methods. So you cannot use arrow function. You just need to define your class name. For example, hello Constantine, right? So this is the way you define a function or a method within a class. And that means that then you can come here and you can just add a button, right? If you want to invoke that class, you remember that we've been talking about creating buttons on these things. So you can do onClick equals this dot hello Constantine. We call the class, right? So this is the way we call that method. And then how do we update the state from show welcome true to show welcome false here? Correct. This dot set state, and then what? I want to change that property from true to false. So welcome, like that. Outside the parentheses, like that. No.
No, so welcome state is a function and it takes
Curly brackets. Who said curly brackets?
curly brackets.
All right, curly brackets, and then what?
Not inside.
So welcome, false. Like that. Right, you got a button. Obviously, we need to add some text in the button to see something, right? So if I type hello Constantine, right? If you click on the button, you see, it changes, right? So again, the reason why I'm explaining that is to as a way to refresh how to create functions or methods, you call them however you want, with JavaScript classes. This is the syntax. You just type it, open and close the parentheses, and then you create your function. But you cannot use several functions here, unfortunately. Right, so let me go back to the example, the if-else thingy. So let me remove that method. At the moment, what the strategy we follow is quite aggressive because we either display we return either one element or the other, right? That's it. We completely replace the component. But what happens if we don't want to replace the entire component? We have our component with 20 lines of code, but we just want to customize just a bit, just a tiny bit of the component. So yeah, so how do we do that? Let's create it again. So essentially, I have that. So return div, and here I have the heading. So welcome to Codiri. No, not that one. Sorry. How do I close so fast the H1? Because as soon as you close it, it should automatically add the closing tag. Is it happening to you? No?
It does, but it's annoying.
Right, so in that particular case, that may be because of one of the settings. No period, no, really? It's not happening to you? Okay, let me take it later. I don't remember to have set any property to explicitly do that for me. Right, so let's discuss about that later on, right? But for now, what I want is I have some content on my component, right? Like a title, yes, whatever, right? So this is the amazing component, blah, 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 you know, some stuff. But then now here in the middle, here, please put here the dynamic. That's the thing, right? I want just to replace that thingy, not the entire component. I want just to replace a small bit. Any ideas how to do it?
No.
Okay, let's add a div. Okay, not against that. So right, so we added a div. So in here, we want to display either, right, so let's change the message. Instead of so welcome, is Monday, it's a boolean, right? So I want to say, if is Monday, display crap, else good, right? Something simple. I just want to display crap or good here, dynamically. Do you remember how to add dynamic stuff on React components in the middle of the markup? Do you remember the symbol in JavaScript that allows us to do that? Script? No. Far. Do you remember how to use map for each and these kind of things with React? Inside? Exactly. Thank you, Constantine. Whenever we want to display something dynamically with React, first of all is the curly brackets. That's the first thing. And now, as we're inside that, this is an expression in JavaScript then we can type our JavaScript magic. So we can do, if, again, I'll start with the most simple case, if this dot, right, state dot is Monday. Look, we got something interesting. It's complaining already, right? Because when we use curly brackets, even though this is JavaScript, we have some restrictions. We cannot do everything we want here. And I'm not going to talk about why, all the details, but the thing is, the main reason is, whenever you use curly brackets, you have to return something straight away. If doesn't return anything. It doesn't make sense to do that. Return if, that's not, you see, it's not valid. Because of that, we cannot use if whatever else. That expression, that block is not valid. But however, we can still use a ternary operator. So we can do that. We can do this.state.is Monday. Look, it's, at the moment, I can do, if it's Monday, crap, else good. You see? That's still valid. Why? Because as soon as I open the curly brackets, I'm returning something. Right? This pattern is very, very, very popular with React. Remember that. Whenever you want to display something or something else, open curly brackets, ternary operator, if else. Right? So if I change true to false, yeah, we got it. Of course, here we can add more HTML stuff. So we can add a div, right, with a heading. That's, you know how to do it. Just nothing new for you. So then here you can add smaller title. Good. Right? See? So crap, huge title, and then good, smaller title. That's just HTML, right? So this is the most, I would say, the most popular way to decide what to display. Remember, by the last time, open curly brackets, then your ternary operator. If the condition is true, then do that. If it's false, then do that. Make sense? Yeah? Any question? Right, so the last bit I'm going to do is, you can imagine that in reality, this may be much more complicated, right? Instead of just a text with some decorators, we could have lots of things going on here, right? So this could be like a very complicated piece of HTML. That may happen. Because of that, look at what happened. If I start doing these kind of things, if I start adding content here, right, and paragraphs, you know, if this starts growing, yes, it's a fake example, but I mean, that may happen, right? So what do you think about that? Is that readable? Yes. I found it quite difficult because the reason is, look, you can put it in one word. Yeah, no, well, I repeat it just to keep it simple, but imagine that this different content, that is actual, you see, different content that you cannot do any looping or anything like that. We just want to display that. That's what we want to display, and that's perfect. However, the problem is, from a readability point of view, I read that, if this state is Monday, okay, this is ternary operator, fine, but then I say, okay, wait a minute, but where is the else? Is here? No. Oh, right, it's at the very bottom, right? So, even though that's valid, you see it works, right? So that's valid. If I change it, display the else statement. But I don't like that. To me, ternary operator should be the shorter, the better. Because of that, question for you guys. What could we do to improving readability of that component? Exactly, Aaron, that's it. Based on what Dave explained a minute ago, why don't we create a component to wrap all this thing here, right? that will help readability. Let's do it. So I'm going to create a new component. Okay, let's create a stateless component. You'll tell me. So the component is going to be called crap, but you'll tell me the syntax. You should know how to do that. Function, crap. Say it again. You cannot see it. Oh, what is it? Oh, sorry, it's at the bottom. Sorry. Sorry. Yeah, you're right. Let me add some break lines. Yeah. Cool. Crap. And then what?
And then an argument or calling the function.
Call the function. Curly bracket. And then what?
Return.
Return. And then we want to return that, right?
Yes, and wrap that in and place it into the function.
Exactly. We're just moving pieces, right? So by doing that, and then what?
And then use graph as a reference to this
Like that?
component.
Props? No, I don't care about props. Curly brackets at the end. Parentheses, like that. Right. Listen, it works, right? I don't like that. To me, yeah, crap is a React component. So let's call it as a proper React component. How do we invoke React components? No. Exactly. Like that, right? That's the same. Still works. But to me, this is more readable, right? Because it's so easy to see if else, one line. So try to do that. Try to keep the if else on the ternary operator in one line. If, do that. Else, do that. Right? Of course, you can also create a new component for the good, right? You know how to do it. That's exactly what we did. So function good, which return that, right? So then we can just call good here, even more readable. To me, this is more beautiful because if else, they have the same shape, right? Then if you are curious to see what crap means, you can scroll down. Ideally, it should be on a new file, as you know. But yeah, that's the idea, right? You can drill down and see the details of the crap component, and same with good. We can drill down and see the details of the good component. Does it make sense?
So do we usually create new components? We will put it after
Technically speaking, you can put it anywhere because functions can be accessed globally. So if I move them to the top of the file, that should work. However, to me, this is a bad pattern because at the moment, if it's the first time I'm checking the gallery, my gallery component, to me, it's hard to see what is being exported, right? Because I read that component, crap. Oh, but this is not exported. So what's the public API? Oh, look, it's at the bottom, line number 27, right? So to me, when you create a component, the first thing is what you export because that's the most important thing at the very top, right? And then if you want, put these kind of things, right? The new components at the bottom, but still, bad practice. Keep every component in a new file. That will help in the long term because of multiple reasons. It will help to keep your files shorter. It will help to test your components. It will help to reduce potential conflicts. What happens if I'm working on this file, but Vesna is working as well, and I add this, but then she adds something else here, we'll get a conflict, right? We'll have to merge our programs. However, if we split the files into smaller chunks, we are reducing the probability of touching the same line. Does it make any sense? Cool. Any question? No? So that's it. Please master how to use ternary operators with React. That's vital. That's super important. That was it, guys.